660 brake horsepower. And what that does is it turns this car into a rocket ship. That was just fascinating. It's impressive.
You can call it fascinating. Some people call me boring. But yeah.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Supercars of London and a scene that is all too familiar. A highly modified BMW M3. I'm down at Pipercross and I actually don't know exactly what is happening today, but I'm very much going back to school and learning a lot about combustion engines, which is why I've got this high-vis jacket on. And I'm going to be meeting the team behind Pipercross that are going to help me get the most out of my M3. Let's see what we're working with under here. Completely bone stock. Is it not, Luke?
It's a little bit more stock than ours, yeah.
Do you want to run me through what this beauty has had, other than a load of carbon fibre on the outlook?
Yeah, 100%. So the whole premise behind sort of our M3, what we wanted to do, it was try and create our own version of our club sport. Okay. What does our club sport look like in the world of, if you could go to BMW and buy the ultimate club sport, this is what we're trying to create. Yeah. Starts with some good air intakes. Yep. So our brand new Air Max intake system, full carbon fibre all the way to the inlets, everything else that we've been doing on that. Some aesthetic from the carbon fibre engine cover to match with all the pipe, the lids and everything else that we're doing here.
That's just the cover? Just the cover.
It's purely for aesthetic. It kind of ties together all the carbon, looks really nice.
It looks good.
Yeah, exactly. we need some bling in there as well, don't we, for these things. Once we've got more airflow, we've got more power and everything else we've got going through, the guys over at MMX hooked us up with a full power unit onto this. Yep. So that basically works as like a stage 1 map on the vehicle. Completely plug and play system, so it plugs in. It's not a direct ECU flash, it kind of plugs in. All the engine tuning is inside that box essentially and runs through the system. Couple that with a full Nitron coilover kit, specifically designed for this G80 chassis. It was a new one developed for everything else, so it still works with all the sport modes, everything else is combined with it. The guys over at Rotorform helped us out with a custom set of DTM wheels. These are staggered on the car, and then the guys at Toyo hooked us up with some 888s on that as well to make sure it all tied together nicely.
What are we doing as a sort of starter pack on my car? Because look at all of this puny plastic.
We've got some work to do here. Yeah. But really for us, I mean, obviously we specialise in air filters, that's what we do. But really, a lot of people, their first sort of performance modifying side of things when it comes into actual performance upgrades of a vehicle is generally going to be the air filter, whether that's a panel filter or a full intake system. Now today, we're going to be treating your car to the full Pipercross Air Max system, so that is the full carbon fibre, lids both sides, inlet pipes, everything else, and then just to finish it off, nice new carbon engine cover as well to replace this.
I cannot wait. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going back to school because there's a lot that I'm going to learn today. Even just talking to you off camera, comparing these two cars, yep. There's a lot that we can get into inside whilst the installation is 100%. Happening. I also want to drive this. Do you have the key?
Of course.
Listen to the sounds. I absolutely love when you have a complete 360 audio. You can hear the air working together in symphony with the exhaust and just everything sucking in, the engine revving, and then obviously the sound coming out the back. Just in any gear it sounds mega, but it also sounds so smooth. The tone is a smooth, progressive experience. And I think it's helped with the fact that this is an X-Drive M3 because it just picks up and goes. You've got the semi-slick tyres. This is a full club sport setup that you might as well just have everything into Sport Plus. Listen to it. Oh, I hope my microphone is picking it up because it is a an all-encompassing experience. We've got a bit of a green light here, so we might as well try and get through that. And yeah, suspension, tyres, intake, filter, tune, exhaust, creates around 660 brake horsepower. And what that does is it turns this car into a rocket ship. Now let me tell you, I've already had a tour of the Pipercross manufacturing. Their R&D facilities are impeccable and very, very clean. And this from here looks like a science laboratory, all for airflow, which I am fascinated by. But it also goes straight over my head, pun not intended. So I really don't know, other than the engine's going to breathe better, what these guys are going to do to this car. But considering how many cars I have owned and have fiddled around with either a tune or an exhaust system but never actually concentrated on the block that powers the car, what you are going to see today is an absolute noob in airflow and combustion engines getting a lesson from Pipercross and then turning into hopefully a bit of an expert in what this car is capable of. All right, is this a fridge? Is there Coke in here?
So that's all part of our much larger airflow testing rig called an ALF. One of only two in the country, the size that it can test to. So we use that for heavy for our commercial side of the business. So right. Bus, truck, train stuff, HVAC, pretty much any airflow test you need to do, capacity, volume, whatever it may be we're going through on that side of things, then we can test everything through that to any level that we want to. So all ISO standardised.
But Pipercross is like performance cars.
We are the fun side. We are the fun part. Yeah. So we take all the FCL side of things with the airflow technology and we convert that now into the performance side of things.
That's cool.
We have done since 1983. It was born actually off the back of the original owner, a guy called Derek Norville from Cosworth. So on the original Hart DFV engines back in the day. And that's where Pipercross came from really. There was a vision to make a foam air filter for the cars back then. That was developed and then here we are today.
A question that you did not hear me ask this morning, and I kind of feel somewhat stupid but coming here and having to ask, like, can you explain the importance of airflow and why a manufacturer like BMW hasn't already mastered it?
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say they haven't mastered it, but they're so limited by emissions controls and everything else, so they have to put certain restrictions. Funny enough, the OE airflow system on the G80 is actually very good. It was very, very hard to improve.
Okay.
So we had to kind of think outside the box a little bit, rather than go down sort of what some other people have done, which is gut the entire airflow system. We decided to work on like an OEM plus basis and work backwards from where are the restrictive points and how do we improve on what they are.
Right.
That's why we end up with a lid design as opposed to a full airbox ourselves. We go with the lower half of the OE airbox, but with a much larger top half essentially. So these are the 3D printed models that we developed originally. So this is from like sort of concept, initial CAD design. We 3D print, we do some flow testing, we go back through, do some dyno and everything else, and we see what we come up with at the end of it.
So it's kind of like an OEM plus kind of, you're using where BMW have mastered.
Yes.
And then improved. It's 3D printed.
All 3D printed, yeah. So lids, essentially what became the pipe, and even
that's
this is
going in my car.
Not this one piece, but one like this, a much nicer one in carbon. So, but even down to this, so the reason we use carbon in the end is because we were able to scallop out all these bits, so we're maximising the most amount of volume we can from that vehicle. By using carbon, we can sculpt it to any shape, size, what we want, as opposed to aluminium pipes you're dictated to by the diameter of the pipe and everything else. You can't really manipulate the pipe sizing that much, whereas in carbon we can create any shape, form that we want to.
That's
step
sick.
It down nicely, the constant taper, volume increase, everything else. Our lid's then much larger volume on the actual OE part itself, and then with a much larger outlets. So we increase this by, I think it's around 60% outlet size.
Wow.
So that's the big difference on that. Couple that with our plus panel filters that go into each side of the airbox.
Yep.
These are specifically designed we're the only people that make an air filter like this.
Yeah.
So this is a laser cut, CAD scanned and cut stainless frame onto a very thick 2-stage foam, mildly impregnated with oil, and that thing is, yeah, this is like the ultimate in airflow for an air filter that we currently manufacture.
Which is mad, because when you service a car and you take out the manufacturer's air filter, firstly they're terrible, and you also just throw them away.
Yeah, exactly. So these are washable, reusable, so lifetime filter for your vehicle.
Which is like, surely anyone that's buying a car should just put this in.
That's like, I think we touched on it earlier on. It's kind of the first step on a modification journey. If you want to do one very, very simple, easy mod, but it's going to make a huge difference to your car, a panel filter in the OE air box is the way to go.
Yeah.
Now we cover roughly around 1,200 different part numbers over the years of what we have, right up to the latest applications that you can buy and everything, from as little as £39.
Yeah.
So it's such an easy one. And then by the time you bought that one filter, 2-3 services down the line, it's already paid for itself because you're washing and reusing.
Yeah.
So.
Fascinating. I mean, I told you it was going to be a school day. What you have just rattled, unless you were practicing last night in the mirror, a script. That was just fascinating. It's impressive.
You can call it fascinating. Some people call me boring. But yeah, I like it.
Right, I am consuming so much information as the sun hits me to give me more energy, because what I absolutely love is the intricacies, the R&D, and the amount of love, care and passion that has gone into this product. And when you're talking about air, there is so much room for error, there's so much room for a leakage. And just speaking to the guys in there who are all so embodied in what Pipercross are designing in these cars to enhance the performance and the efficiency of an engine, to essentially improve the driving experience and to improve what BMW have already manufactured into such a masterpiece. I know that that car in there is going to massively benefit from everything that is happening, and it's around a 45-minute fitment process. But as I was talking to Luke and it was just coming into my head, I was like, everything that he is saying, every single person needs one of them on their car. It's just a no-brainer modification, and of course there is a cost that is associated to it, but I can't believe this is something that I've not considered in the past. And this in particular, the G80, feels like the perfect product to install this on. So I was fascinated when I was talking to the team about what is being installed on my car. Obviously I was playing up to it a bit as to be like, I have no idea what we're doing. But actually learning so much more about the importance and what it is going to mean for that car. Like, I am so thankful that this is going on now. And just like that,
we're done.
I am now ready. Yeah, the final comparison. I mean, we don't need to do it for that one, but we can now see it out in natural light. Look at this. What a beauty. How cool is that? You love this, don't you?
I am very, very fond of this kit, yeah. I don't know if it was the first one sort of coming back to Pipercross for me that we've developed and everything else, but yeah, it's a work of art. It is exceptional. The whole team did a stellar job on everything with the car and all the intake on it, and it's something that I'm very proud of with this kit. So yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
And it's carbon.
Yeah. I just want to say a massive thank you for installing this, but also teaching me and giving me a lesson and understanding of just the importance of airflow.
Well, that's good. Part of what we try and do with this is that educational side of it, really trying to get people's understanding of what it is we're doing it for. It's not just an aesthetic thing. Everything has a purpose in what we're doing. It's function and form type thing. So.
Amazing. Well, it is now time for me to go and get petrol. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I will finish the video up with my GoPro strapped to the windscreen, but Pipercross have completely transformed my engine bay and engine on the M3. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later. See you later, guys. There we go. A day of learning, a steep learning curve. But I feel like, for educational purposes, some of the soundest consumer advice has ever come out of that video. And I knew that it was going to go down that route, because when I started to speak to Pipercross about air filters, about air intake, I was asking them so many questions. And here we are. I am now driving quite possibly the perfect setup for the M3 to begin my modifications properly now. And what better way to test my car than to take it on a 1,000-mile road trip with friends to Wales. Coming next week is a full rundown on my thoughts on the M3 with the most amazing and diverse collection of cars. But what a day with Pipercross. I learned a lot and wanted to put together a video that can hopefully help someone in the future. And to extend the knowledge shared, I've also partnered with Pipercross to bring you a site-wide discount code. Use SOL10 at checkout, which is valid across everything available on the Pipercross website. How have I only just realized that this is the correct way to start modifying your car? Stay tuned for the next video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Cheers.